G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today we are on Frisian Marshes, and that is because we're casting the Elite Classic. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another tournament game. 2 Conqueror 3+++ players are going for it in a very high stakes game. So let's introduce exactly who we've got here and what we've got in store today. Sporting on the west corner of the map, in the colour red, playing as the House of Lancaster, the English variant civilization, it's Numidian. And to his north, in the colour blue, playing as the French, the OGs, it's Sass. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Frisian Marshes. A pleasure to have your company here today. And if you're enjoying this Age of Empires 4 content as much as I'm enjoying casting it, because I tell you what, the quality of these games are absolutely next level, I encourage you, leave a like on the video. It really helps out with the traction. And speaking of traction, have a look at this. Early on, Sass could be picking up plenty of sheep here. I can understand exactly why Numidian said, on this map, maybe it makes sense if I play into the House of Lancaster. Of course, the House of Lancaster have got bonuses to sheep. In fact, the more sheep you get, the better it is for you, because you gather your sheep up faster. So naturally, you want to be staying on sheep for longer. So I'm kind of surprised here that Numidian didn't even go into a second scout and just kind of went one scout, because there are a lot of sheep on this map to be had. So even right here, as an example, you know, that's 5, 6 sheep that he would have found. That's a lot of food, man. 2, yeah, that's 6 sheep. But it's one of those things where it's like, you want to do it, but at the same time, it's like, you don't really, because you've got build orders, and you've already done all the math in your head. It's like, I know that my 8-2 timing will make it work. He's actually going for an 8-3 opening here. Normally, he's got one too many vills on food. Actually, you know what? I'll take it back. I think you can probably still get away with an 8-3 opening. You can actually see he's a little bit behind right here on the 8 ball. No forced drop-off just yet, but I think this is probably around the appropriate timing. You can see here 2 minutes and 5 seconds. He's got the age up coming through. House or Lancaster Castle. Ooh, he's going to go this side. Of course, it's closer to the deer. It makes sense. But we've got ourselves a fun matchup here. The OG French civilization against the New English. Of course, this is a bit of a classic matchup in the sense that English versus French is pretty much as old as we know it. You know, I remember the good old days of casting Don Arty games where the French reigned supreme, and he said, no, I've got an idea, Drongo. Okay, this is the plan. I'm going to play as the English against the French, and I'm going to snipe their archers with my longbows, and then they can't kill me because they don't have any archers to kill my spears, and then their knights basically can't do anything. And that was kind of the mindset, and he really revolutionized or pioneered the way that English played. Get out of town. Get out of town. He pioneered the way that the English played against the French, but here today we get to witness something that is brand new, at least for this patch. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Chamber of Commerce. And this is obviously a landmark that it's been through some changes, been through some phases. Let's take a look and see what it does right now. So, the Chamber of Commerce currently acts as a market and trains 1 free trader for each economic technology that is researched. And that means that he's going to be able to trade all the way to the corner of the map because, of course, he knows exactly where that trade post is. He's playing the French. They get to see it for free. It's funny how each French civilization, you know, you get to see different things. Here you get to see the trade posts. With the new French civilization, you get to see the relics and the sacred sites. So it depends who you're playing as to what you get to see. But the good news is, at least you get to see something today. But I'm curious to see the direction that he goes into. Just the fact that he's got 4 vills on gold here and only the 6 villagers on wood. I'm curious to see, does he actually go for an early stable or not? There's a chance. I mean, there's a chance that he just literally plays only trade. Like, he goes big trade. In fact, I actually think this is probably the right play. Oh, this is an interesting thought right now. Okay, hold on a minute. We need to talk about this. Okay, so I'm putting up the legs right now. I'm getting comfy. I'm not going to take the line of sight off anymore, and I just want to talk. I'm going to freestyle it for a bit. I mean, I'm always freestyling. I never I never come in here with a script. Oh man, I tell you what, Age of Empires 4 games with a script would be hard, man. How would you even do that? I mean, I'm about to put a beastie joke in here. What are you talking about? The script is always rigged against beasties. So don't. Oh, we love it. We love it. He loves it as well. I know he loves it. Anyway, let's talk about this, because this is the main point I wanted to sort of get to, right? When we think of the House of Lancaster and we compare them, typically we're comparing them against a second town center. And the idea is that this is what's available to everybody, right? If you're going to drop down a second town center, every civilization can do that. And because of that, that's kind of like the benchmark that we're comparing it against. What does a House of Lancaster manor opening look like compared to a 1TC, compared to a 2TC? But one of the things I never even thought about comparing it to was a trade opening. And you got to remember, right, like, in my opinion, the trade is arguably the most effective way to gather resources in Age of Empires 4. If we take a look here, this trader is bringing in 72 gold, guaranteed, infinite gold, that's coming through. It's being generated roughly every 90 seconds when it does this. So it's earning more than what a base villager would be, because a base villager would earn this in about 120 seconds. On top of that, these traders are coming out very quickly. And you've got to remember that one of the key differences between a manor and a town center is what is known as barrier to entry. Barrier to entry is how many resources you need to invest into something before you can actually start doing something with it. And one of the really cool things about trade, at least for the French, or in fact for any civilization, is the barrier to entry is very low. The market cost is only 100 wood. In this case, the market was free. On top of that, we've also got a whole bunch of eco upgrades that have also provided us additional traders. So now, not only do we have those traders that are coming out, but we're getting them out very, very quickly as well because of the landmark, and we paid for the Chamber of Commerce a total of 0. I mean, technically, it's an opportunity cost, right? Like, we technically paid for a double stable, and we had to do that because we didn't go into our cavalry landmark. So there is that consideration to make as well. But I think from a philosophical perspective, or maybe philosophical is probably the wrong... Dude, he's going for a second market. Not a philosophical, but I think from the perspective that we're kind of looking... From a holistic perspective, let's go with that word instead, of that term. This is a scary counter to House of Lancaster, and I wouldn't be surprised if SAS easily overwhelms him with the economy. Just because the second market is now coming up. And if he's maintaining a full, a 100% uptime, basically, at the Chamber of Commerce, this second market is basically saying, hey, I'm intending to build additional traders to that. Now, we can see he's got a little bit of a stopgap in here for the moment, but still looking to put pressure on. Now, we do have a Castle Age coming through from Numidan. I do like this from Numidan. Castle Age here makes a lot of sense. Now, I'm going to suspect that Numidan has scouted out what is happening here. I don't know, as a matter of fact, that he has, but I suspect that it is the case. And honestly, all Numidan needs to do here is just spam Hobbler. I mean, we saw this, and he is going to drop the double stable, so... I don't even think... I mean, you could probably go Knights into Collar of Esses here. That can work as well. And you can probably open with Knights into Collar of Esses just to try and deal with the threat of the enemy Knights, right? Like, that's going to be very easy to do. Probably don't even need to go into Collar of Esses, if I'm honest with you. But the reality is you need to get over the other side of the map, and you need to stop this trade. And that's the big thing about trade. Whenever you're playing up against it, you can't allow it to continue, right? Like, if you see the enemy trading, you pretty much have to drop everything and just try and deal with it immediately, right there, right then. Because the barrier to entry is so low, it is so effective for these trades to start happening. And the problem is that they build up very quickly. So even though a trader is more expensive than a villager, you're able to get a lot of them out very quickly and for a very affordable price to get that initial build off. Age Up will come through. Pretty much unscathed at this point. Obviously, a couple Spearmen do go down, but in the end, it's going to be Knights that are in queue here. King's College is online. But, so if we take a look at these traders, so you'll see here, 60 wood, 60 gold. So more expensive than the 50 food that you pay for a villager, but once again, it's about that cost that is associated with actually building the market in the first place. 100 wood versus 750 resources. So if we think about that 650 difference between those two, and then put that into terms of villages, and then look at how fast you're also training your trader compared to your villager, so it's only a little bit longer. It's definitely a pretty good trade-off, I guess you could say. But nonetheless, we'll pay attention to see exactly how Numidan looks to play this. As I said, I do suspect he probably knows about the trade. Hasn't scouted out. In fact, if we take a look at what he knows that this stable is here, and he never saw the School of Cavalry, which should be towards the front of the base, and he never saw that. And so because of that, I guess he can suspect that it's here. But once again, as I said, we're just going to assume that he does know about this. Look at the amount of vills that are moving out here, by the way. 20 vills on gold is a formidable amount of gold. He'll want to be getting out here and trying to secure up this gold in the center of the map ASAP. This is a beautiful little spot to secure. Not only do you get that big gold vein, but of course you get the minor gold vein as well. And now Numidan. So I think from Numidan's perspective, opening Knights, Collar of Esses, and then into Hobblars, you might even be a little bit too late on the Hobblars. I'd be almost tempted to get Hobblars out now, even just like 3 or 4 Hobblars, and just start getting them over on the other side of the map and just moving into hill training. So we already see Collar of Esses is through. So he gets that +6 damage. So these are Knights. These Knights are incredible against the French Knights right now. He's got the healing that's coming through. The charge gets through on point blank range against those spears, so unable to brace in time for them. But you've essentially got 30 damage Knights against 20 damage Knights, which is a big difference, especially because you got 230 health on one side versus the 190. They are outnumbered quite a bit at the moment. We now see the first religious unit of the game in queue. It's a monk. Scout towards the front of the base. Needs to be cautious about copping too much damage here. You want to try and keep this scout alive, but you can see he's trying to bait the units in. Wants to continue that damage through. And there's the 1 knight. Okay, so he's just gone for the 1 knight over in the enemy trade line. One of the things to be very careful with is that your knight is obviously going to get tailed by an enemy knight or 2 enemy knights, and you will eventually have to bring that knight back. Whereas Hobblers, it's not going to happen. But now we see a decent little defense for Numidan for the moment. Oh, very interesting decision. Muster the nobles. I don't agree with this. I don't like this at all. I mean, technically he's Castle Age, and technically he's going to get 5 Demi-Lancers, but like, you're paying 100 resources for each of those Demi-Lancers? Bro, I mean, you know what? The Demi-Lancers do get the bonus damage. If I remember correctly, they also get... Yeah, the Demi-Lancer also gets the +6 damage, right? Which... Okay, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I don't mind this as much now. I still kind of have trouble reconciling with it, just because you're paying a lot of resources to really get not a whole lot of bang for your buck. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, it makes sense right now, just simply because he can get out onto the map and he can really look to put pressure on. But as I said, I think the biggest issue is, like, you need Hobblers, and you need to start getting over here, like 4 or 5 Hobblers, and just try and charge every single... Like, just go up the trade line and just literally charge every single trader you can find. That's all you should be doing right now, is just constantly charging every trader. Because remember that the Hobblars do get that bonus charge damage, an extra 150% charge damage. So this might be a little bit problematic, but obviously you've got movement speed, which is definitely going to be in your favor, especially up against the Knights. Now, Royal Institute is coming through for Sass. He is on that single TC, but obviously with the trade, it's going to be a lot more formidable, his economy. So we have a look and see. It says only 6 traders. That's because he's idled out quite a few of them here. He's got quite a few back here as well, but he's on 66 at the moment. So I agree with this Royal Institute. I think this makes a lot of sense. Bloodline's now going to be coming through for him as well. Vills jump inside the town center. Upgrades are on the way through. You can see the veterancy coming through now as well for those Knights. He's able to hold on a little bit longer. The cav number looking pretty even Stevens at this stage. But once the veterancy comes through, he's going to be able to contest this relatively easily. Once the Royal Bloodlines comes in, then it's going to be a guaranteed victory for him. But he needs to be cautious about engaging before the Bloodlines. Obviously, it's a big upgrade, but he's not going to mind. He just says, you know what, let's commit to it. Town center's firing down, and these are only Demi-Lancers, and that's the thing that you got to remember. These are only Demi-Lancers. That's part of the reason why initially I was apprehensive about it. It's like, yeah, sure, you're getting these units, and yeah, it gives you your numbers advantage right now, but it's like these units fall off so quickly. It's not even fair, man. They're really... I'm almost tempted to say I would kind of prefer a horseman to them, but I think that would be unfair to the horseman. Yeah. I think it's more about taking advantage of, like, your mana numbers. To me, it just feels like a bit of a waste, right? Like, you've just spent all these resources. You could have, ideally, you probably would have just dropped more manas down. But I mean, I don't know. It's tough to know. It's tough to know. These guys are really good players, and I don't want to theorize too much about what they should have done. Rather just kind of throw out alternative facts. Alternative facts. There you go. That's a good one. Throw that in with the aliens, shall we? Speaking of aliens, do we have any alien news? Not really. I mean, Age of Disclosure is obviously coming out. I mean, aliens on another planet. I mean, we've seen a biosignature. I mean, it's cool. That's pretty cool. It's not 100% confirmation, but it's like, from what we know, we'll talk about it later. We got knights in paradise right now. We got trouble in paradise. But this one's going to get cleaned up if he's not careful. You can see the charges coming through. Sasso on the ball right now. He's going for it. Now, keep in mind, he does have royal bloodline, so this is a bad fight for Numidan. Numidan's going to get absolutely cleaned up here. And keep in mind, any of these low health knights, he can just pull back. Why is he falling back? He's got, look at the number advantage, bro. You're 20 against 12. Why? You could just win the game right here, Sass. Oh, man. What's going... Sass, what's the deal? Like, Sass literally could have just won that game. I mean, what does he do? Okay, so he just pulls back the low health knights, sends them back. You've still got like 10 knights that are still high health. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe you don't win right there. Lancaster Castle, it's not that scary. It's 12 damage every 1.25 seconds. I mean, it's kind of scary, but anyway. Yeah, so basically there's this planet that they found, and they're able to identify the makeup and breakup of its atmosphere. And one of the things that they found in the atmosphere, and this was quite a few months ago, was a compound that is only generated by life, by plankton on Earth. And anyway, they pointed the new telescope that they've got at it, and now they've gone ahead and identified 2 additional compounds that they've found that are also only made by organic life on this planet. And it's just like, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's looking pretty close to it. But anyway, you know what else is looking pretty close? This game right now. Sass definitely teetering on the edge of about to overwhelm his opponent versus unsure as to his true power. But I think one of the biggest things that he's really discounting right now is the fact that he's got the royal bloodlines. Like, royal bloodlines is incredible. It is so powerful. It's so difficult to deal with, especially these power spikes that come through. Like, this is the equivalent of basically like a 2 TC power spike, right? He's not even at full power right now, because realistically for this game, he can just make only knights, and he should just be able to win. Even if his enemy goes pure crossbow spearman, he should still be able to overwhelm them and overcome them. But we'll see exactly how he looks to play it, because the spearman number is starting to build here. Have a look at this, hardened spearman. Veterancy on the way through for Numidan as well. Unfortunately, one of these guys is going to get cleaned up. So, yeah, I guess, like, when it comes to aliens, obviously, there's... You know, the question, if you were to break it down onto different levels, you've got like the initial one, which is like, do you think we're alone in the universe? And you'd have to be pretty, like, I would be more scared if we were alone in this huge universe. Like, you look at the Milky Way, dude, just to give you like a couple numbers, we're talking like hundreds of billions of stars. And you think of our star, and there's, you know, 8 planets that are going around it, and each one of those stars out there's probably got a planet going around it. So that's like, if we think of like odds, right, and like numbers, it's like, it's pretty good odds in our Milky Way that there's probably going to be at least one other planet out there that could probably support life. And then you're like, well, hold on a minute. All those little dots in the sky that you see aren't stars, man. Those are galaxies. There is hundreds of billions of galaxies that have got hundreds of billions of stars in them. And it's just like, it becomes... Like, we're not special, right? Like, humans aren't special. We're not made up of some organic compound that doesn't exist or is rare. I shouldn't say doesn't exist, but that it's rare to find, right? Like, we're made up of pretty basic building blocks. We're not that special. So to say that we were alone, I feel like that would be scarier. So that's easy to get over with, but you know what's not easy to get over with? Look at the knight numbers that he's got now, up to 32 knights. Reinforcement's going to continue coming through. He's going to look to throw down a keep on the front line. Numidan, as the House of Lancaster, tries to defend, but he's being overwhelmed. Do we see the micro from Sass coming through? He should be pulling back these low health units. I don't know why he's not pulling them back. That's another knight that gets pulled in. Come on. I'm barely Conqueror 3. Even I can do it. But have a look at this. Numidan's actually managed to hold the defense. The impossible. Somehow. He's taken out all the blue knights. Was I overhyping? Was I overhyping the power of the French knight? Has the power creep from the House of Lancaster been able to overwhelm? Does he have Billman? Is that why? No, he doesn't even have Billman, dude. What's going on? Hold on, how's he doing this if he doesn't even have Billman, dude? If he had Billman, I could at least be like, that's why it looked so good, because he had Billman. He doesn't even have Billman. But, I mean, look at these numbers. This is a bit concerning. Because at the moment now, he's up 45 bills. And the walls are really starting to come up. Have a look at the size of this wall that he is building. This is a cross-map wall, and I actually like this. I think this makes a lot of sense. And the main reason why this makes sense is, number one, you've got cavalry, which means you are very mobile. Number two, the reason why it makes sense is because your enemy is basically fighting from the same pocket that you are, right? Like, if we look at this, it's not like you're across map down here on the mini-map. And because of that, it means that you're a lot less likely to be hit out here. So I think this makes a lot of sense. If as an example, if you were down here, then obviously this makes it much easier to hit down towards this position. By the way, is it just me, or has this, holy moly, has this wall literally just somehow gotten through every single wood line just barely? How is that even possible, dude? Nah, it's... It looked pretty convincing from that angle. Oh, we got units. Turn it around, Drongo. There we go. We got it. We're back around. So, from here on in, Numidan is just looking to play Spearman crossbow. And when your economies are similar, this is going to absolutely destroy. And it even appears right now that Spearman crossbow is just absolutely destroying Knight only. There is one point where Knight only will actually defeat this, and that is when the economy of the French player far outweighs the opponent, and that French player is then able to go Imperial Age. And what you see right now is that happening. The economy is much greater for Sass than it is for Numidan, and that's because of the trade. He hasn't been able to stop the trade. And, you know, earlier we talked about getting the hobblers out and trying to run them around and utilizing that charge ability. And look, as I said before, it's not that I want to tell these players that they're playing wrong. It's that I want to offer alternative facts, alternative theories. Let's go with that. And I feel like this is probably something that was underlooked or wasn't really considered by Numidan, because this, to me, was an easy out for him. You get 5 hobblers. All you do is you grab this upgrade for the extra charge damage. You run them over to this side of the map, and you start here, and you work all your way up this line, and you work your way back. And then you do a couple of little bit of circles, maybe go hit the other side. You get the idea, right? The whole idea is that you're just running in circles, constantly putting pressure on, and every single charge that you do is going to be guaranteed killing a trader at the very least. And it basically just forces your opponent into a position where they have to address that, whether that be through something like sprinkled emplacements on an outpost, whether that be through more compartmentalization in their walls. And we do actually see this wall under attack down here to the south, but as we mentioned earlier, the fact that you're that you're playing cavalry means that you've got this mobility, and it means that you're able to deal with this threat. So if we take a look down here, the Royal Knights should be able to clean this up pretty easily. Merchant guilds coming through, obviously elite upgrades coming through as well. But yeah, just to talk a little bit more about sort of, you know, life, is it out there, that sort of thing. I think we're kind of past that point now where it's like, you know, the odds of most people, anybody who can see numbers probably knows there's a good chance that there's life out there. I think the big question for most people is whether or not it's been here on Earth, and that's what the Age of Disclosure will look to answer the question on. Because it's interesting, right? And I've obviously talked about this in previous videos, and I appreciate I probably threw you guys in the deep end way too early for that kind of stuff, because, you know, we can't just be introducing every single theory and all the little off-ramps and all the most niche stuff. I actually went and saw a comedian recently. He's somebody I've been following, an Australian comedian, for quite some time. His name's Friendly Geordies. And he's doing a show at the moment. And as a fellow creator, I went and watched his show, and I just admired everything he did, because he did so well to like weed out those little things that just make people go, oh, I don't know about that. But anyway, it was a good show, Friendly Geordies. If you're in Australia and you're interested in UFOs and a funny watch, go check him out. It was really, really cool getting to see him live. Really good energy as well. I was impressed with how much energy he had, dude. Man, I tell you what, I wish I was that young. he was young. He's very energetic. And now clean up towards the front. Elite Knights are coming through, and this is where it starts to get problematic, because the economy is just powering up a huge amount of elite knights. And at this point, now your only fear is population space, because for Sass, if we take a look at his pop space, he's sitting at 135, and this has always been the French problem. Or like I remember playing against Louis MT about a year ago, and this was the same issue that I ran into, is that if you allow a French trade to continue, it will get to the point where it doesn't matter what you do. There is nothing that you can do to stop it, because number one, the economy is too strong, and number two, the units are too strong. So even if you make the counter units, so here, as you can see, we're making 100% counter units, spearmen and crossbowmen. You're going to catch up to them eventually. You're going to go Imperial Age, but hopefully you get your upgrades as well before the fight begins. But even if you do, it doesn't matter. And the reason why is because these two armies are not the same. You've got 59 knights. How much do they cost? They cost 240 resources. You've got 45 spears. Wonderful. How much do they cost? They cost 80 resources. You've got 80 resources for a single spear versus 240 resources for a single royal knight. And this means that you've got a 3-to-1 cost difference here, which, while this technically on paper might look good from a population perspective, from a resource perspective, it is a terrible deal. And because of that, it is one of the things that is very troublesome with the French. And you get to this stage of the game and you ask yourself, okay, well, how do I counter this? The reality is, and it's an answer I hate to give, just don't let them get to that point. Just don't let the French get to that point. They're now sitting at almost 100 economic units more than you. A huge army of knights looking to rampage through your base. Elite upgrades coming through for the spearmen. The 4 relics that you've got don't even mean anything in this game at all. Maybe if you could wallow all of these units into your favor, maybe then it could mean something. But for the moment, Sass is maxed. 59, he's completely maxed on just knights alone. And now, in towards what might be the worst possible position to fight, he decides to fight, but naturally he falls back. If I was him, I'd just come around the other side and then look to fight, but then you probably have to deal with Numidan moving over to this angle as well. There's lots of cheeky little ways that he can come in and do this, but it looks like he's going to be falling back and just moving into some siege, so probably deleting. So I'd be deleting the traders, because at this point, like, realistically, we're floating 5k resources. We're fine to get rid of a couple of traders here if it means that we can get Revoltaquins or get some royal cannons out, or just some cannons out. But you can see now, it looks like he might be caught out of position. Now, he can just turn and fight this. This is no trouble whatsoever. And keep in mind, with that economy, like, this is an extra 20 knights that are going to be coming in immediately, compared to Numidan, who's sitting at 146 pop, and he is not going to be able to reinforce this. Look at the amount of vills he's brought up for this as well. But this is a very difficult position for the House of Lancaster here. How do you really get out of this? I don't think you can. I'll be honest, I don't think you can win. The first thing that he needed to do with it was, like, he needed to disrupt trade more than just the single knight, which obviously got cleaned up very quickly. That would be the first thing. The second thing was he probably needed to add in a second town center. He knew the enemy was trading, and technically, when it comes to trade is very good in the sense that it's infinite, but it's not very good on an efficiency basis. Once you start getting, like, cupellation, villages on gold mines are going to be arguably better than your traders. But obviously the traders do also, like, sort of return back to power once the gold has run out. But there is definitely a window there where you can 100% match the power that trade is, especially with House of Lancaster. But Spear's going to come through once again. Only a handful, I say a handful, there's 26 knights down here. Only a little part of this army is currently on that south side. The rest of it, the 27 knights, are up towards the northern heart of the base. Huge army here for Numidan as well. Up to 102 military units, and you can see he's going to leave quite a few of them here with these villages. So may potentially... Oh gosh, there's a bit of silence right there. I was wondering where did all the noise go? Where did all the voices go? But the knights now falling back out once again. Still got a whole bunch of units in queue, and just kind of sitting here waiting, twiddling his thumbs. So the longer that he waits, arguably the worse it gets for him. Sass wants to try and fight right now, because the worst thing that you can do is let Numidan get to 200 and then start building up his own bank of resources, because that's going to allow him to reinforce those units. And you want to basically just go through them as quickly as you can and then look to reinforce with your knights. That's basically the idea. So he's definitely got the advantage at the moment, but we can see right now he's doing a little bit of a split fight, so easily able to clean this up. Not going to be a hassle whatsoever. Towards the top side, able to bait back the enemy units once again, but he's working these numbers down to 160 population. Keep in mind, he's not really stacking up too many resources, about 3,500 at the moment. should be able to clean this up without too much of a hassle. We can see a couple of knights on the ground. Cannon in placement are going to be helping out from the outpost. Where are those knights? They're back towards the north. He's cleaned up some population space. He's got the access to Revoltaquins, and the Revoltaquins are just going to complicate this even more. From the perspective of Numidan, I don't know how you possibly deal with this now, because you've also got that additional threat. And you can see he's just kind of thrown away all this population space, but at the end of the day, like, while this might be a bad trade for him from like a pure like numbers from here versus numbers for there, in my opinion, it works out better for him, because number one, he's cleaned up population space and he's immediately rebuilt. So now all of a sudden you've got that 200 remax army against a player who's just lost a whole bunch of population in their military. So all of these units, if we think about that, there's probably like, you know, close to 50 units, probably even more than that he's lost. Revoltaquins moving forward. Let's rearrange and see if we can spot out exactly what the plan is as they make their way forward. He's really not stopping right now. He's just absolutely putting the heat on. Revoltaquins getting a little bit excited. Decide to turn around, managed to get a couple of kills in quickly before the last shots can come through. Decent damage, but in the end, the Revoltaquin is going to go down. Can't get one more shot off. No, we cannot. Double Revoltaquin now coming out on the side of Numidan as well. Everybody's getting randy in this game, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just me. I'm not the only one excited here. More vills down towards that south side. More Revoltaquin coming out. He's at 62 knights for the moment. And once again, this is the problem when you're up against this, right? He's got 22 in queue. So even if you take out all of these knights, well, not all of these knights, but even if you take out half of these knights, you're at 77, right? Like, dude, he just deleted that. He just had to have deleted traders. We're not in his perspective, so we don't know, but I would suspect he almost certainly deleted traders or villagers somewhere along this line. I'm fine with that as well, Sass says. And now that cannon, a little bit too excited. Needs to be careful. And Numidan, still technically larger army than his opponent, but remember, we talk about army size versus army value, 26k versus 12k. Not just that, was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I swear I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down there. Rewind, go check, confirm for me if it was or not. I'll pin the first guy that says yes, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it wasn't, I'll still pin you. No, I don't know if I'll pin you. I don't know, man. I'll forget. I'll be like, why am I pinning this guy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's this? What's this all about? It'll be a week later, and I'll finally remember. Like, oh, that's right. Nice little double mill. Oh, sacred sites are captured. We hadn't even talked about the sacred sites yet, ladies and gentlemen. We got ourselves a little bit of a sacred victory on the cards here. Another good map for it as well. Of course, these two sacred sites close together, center of the map, and now trebuchets. You got to remember, these are now eating into the population of Numidan. One of the big things that have been, or considerations, oh yeah, you can see he's in a bit of trouble. So one of the big factors for Sass this game has been the fact that population has been easy for him because he's got expensive units. So he can get away with just spamming out a whole bunch of these with his population. But here the keeps are going to be working in his favor in the sense that it's a structure he's going to have to get taken out through a unit that costs population. But look, we'll talk less about that and more about this fight that is, I don't even know if you'd call this a fight. It's a bit of a dance, an eloquent dance between them. Cannons firing off at the Revoltaquin at the back, but it's not even close. It might look like, no, it's not close. There are so many knights in here, and he's rallying more, and he's got enough for another 26 in the kitty, by the way. You can see he's going to immediately click them all in. Another 2 royals coming through. But these knights, he's got 63 of them. And this is what I said earlier in the sense that, well, the problem is, once it gets to a certain point, there is absolutely nothing you can do about it, and it got to that point about 20 minutes ago. Ladies and gentlemen, go check out EGC TV this weekend. Go check out Friendly Geordies if you're in Australia. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can check him out as well. And, of course, we'll catch you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.